Babo, the Peru versus Chile El Clasico matchup. Ranked number 7 and number 9. Can't get much closer than this. So let's get into it. Game number 1, our elimination match between Gosudark and Babo. All right, here we go. Our first game of the elimination match for Group C, BSL Season 8. In the upper right-hand corner, as Zerg. In the magenta is Babo.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner of the same map, as you would expect, he's the green Protoss. He's Gosudark.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a Classico matchup. Both of these guys are pretty sneaky, aggressive, cheesy, whatever you want to call it. I'd say maybe Gosudark a little bit more than Babo, but this is going to be really interesting because they are both in South America. They've got really good ping to each other, theoretically. So shouldn't be seeing any, no Johns, basically. This is straight up. They're cross positions on Clayfield, PVZ. What do you think we're going to expect here? I don't really know much about Clayfield. What's your thoughts, Ziggy?
I mean, at PVZ, these two guys, this is a clash of like two very unorthodox players, at least from what I've seen of them. And we're just going to have to wait and see which one of them breaks out from the meta and does something weird. That I feel that this is something we have to bear in mind, and this is going to decide the winner of this game. PVZ is like one of the most standard matchups in that most of them look the same, and it's really difficult to spot any differences unless you're going for like White Rare special tactics with 6 gateways and zealot speed. But other than that, PVZ always feels like virtually the same, right? And there are very tiny differences that make up for massive, like game-changing, scenarios.
So let's talk about one of those little differences right now. Babo went for, I believe that was a 12 hatch, which is weird because usually you just see Zerg players do overpool in DVP because it's kind of safe and middle of the road, doesn't really die to anything. But the 12 hatch is interesting because it actually made it.
He's going to get cannon rushed.
Yeah, it means that he's vulnerable to this.
Right.
Also, this is like you could absolutely expect this from Gosudark. Like, he misplaced the pylon.
Oh well,
there it is.
Difficult.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good pylon placement. He also is drawing this probe out with he's drawing the drone out with the probe.
Yeah, with the probe. Well, I mean, we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, as I said, because these maps you don't necessarily play on them, right? Yep. These maps have been pulled out, have been brought in specifically for this tournament, so you don't always know how to place buildings unless you've practiced building placement. But yeah, let's hope that these cannons are placed just as he wanted them to be.
Yeah, double cannon here. He's actually going to build the blocking pylon as well. So as easy as some of these cannons are or cannon rushes are to stop initially, once they get up, they're still just as hard to stop as they have been. This is going to be a little bit of a rough one. But certainly the Zerglings aren't getting back there, and the first cannon is about to warp in.
Yeah, so what do you actually want to commit to defending this natural here? Because it feels like this Sunken is going to get picked off before it actually manages to finish. Yeah, he targeted the second cannon as well, so this Sunken is going to fall in a matter of seconds, and I don't really see Babo retaking this natural. If this probe comes in and blocks off the path here, puts that probe on the hold position, it's going to be way more difficult for Zerglings to actually get in and on top of those cannons. So I think he's going to give up the natural here and going to try and play off of 2 bases with this weird third base as his natural.
Yeah, I mean, 500 minerals down the drain to cancel that natural. I guess that's worth it. It still is going to make it a little bit difficult for Babo to move out of his base, and based on the way Larva works now, Gosudark turns his evil Sauron-like eye to this third base, which is definitely super isolated on this map.
Yeah, but we have to remember the fact that his gateway was delayed, so Zealot pressure is going to come delayed as well as a result. and that should give Babo plenty of time and plenty of room to actually get ready for any follow-up aggression. But the problem is his eco has suffered considerable losses here, right? Because he committed to a very eco-heavy opening, and he didn't get much for it, right? So, oh, he's actually going for a proxy hatchery.
I love it. Yes. Cheesing the cheeser. It is out of any vision range, your natural travel patterns, so I don't think it's going to get scouted.
How do you miss a drone getting into your main base at this level?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Well, like, where did the drone come from? Was that like the initial scouting drone that he just hid?
Yeah, I think so. Because he sent one out to the top left.
Yeah.
He sent the overlord to the bottom right, and then another drone to chase away the probe, which he then turned into the third. So it has to be the same drone that went to the top left.
He's failing killing these cannons super hard, by the way.
He's not going to do it.
Yeah, no, he sent the Zerglings in like one by one, and so he didn't kill either cannon. They both survived with like 10 HP.
No, that is painful to watch.
Oh my god. Because there's two, you can't just like make another pair of Zerglings and one-shot them. You're gonna need like another 6 or 8 lings. He also has this proxy hatch, and now the creep is visible. So, surprise, the proxy hatch is here. The 2 Zerglings are just about to break out, but there's already a Zealot and 2 cannons, so what is happening here? Oh no! Oh, this is just total tragedy.
So the cannons get cleared out, finally, but now the hatchery is in peril as well. There's 1 cannon being built. That's going to make it impossible for any lings to actually get out and do damage. Everything is going wrong for Babo here. This is not how I expected him to actually go into the BSL with how storied of a player he might be. He didn't make it to the round of 8 last season, as you said, and you obviously expect way more out of a player who manages to do that. And to see him fall apart this quickly is just, you know, a painful thing to see.
Certainly is. Now, he went up to like 1k minerals there for a second and then dumped a bunch of it into 2 hatcheries. So in theory, his plan is to sit back, relax, and just pretend like nothing ever happened. However, because reality exists, I don't know how good a strat that is going to be, because he's going to lose this hatchery that was proxied. The secret strat is that it was all a clever plan to block Gosudark from being able to build in that part of the map.
Yeah, he's got absolutely no defense against those Corsairs, and if that Corsair finds those 2 overlords, then that's going to be lights out for Babo. Well, it's not going to be lights out, but obviously that's going to put him into red supply territory, and obviously that's not where you want to be.
He actually didn't kill the larva from the hatchery in the base, so there's 6 more Zerglings about to pop out.
Yeah, but those lings have to get past 2 cannons, right? They could round around, and there's only 1 cannon in the natural, but yeah, he's trying to make the most out of a bad situation, but I just don't see this working out.
Yeah, of course they're headed across the map. Is there a spore or something? What's gonna stop every overlord from dying? Oh, he's got a Hydra Den.
Yeah, the Hydra Den has just finished, but you know, there's only 1 Hydra. He's quite short on cash here.
I think that's being a little too kind there, Ziggy, but you are right. He does not have very much. There are single-digit Hydras in this game, and those do not do a lot. So 3 Corsairs probably still going to be able to kill all these overlords.
Yeah, he's going to find one at the third there. Being a bit timid, but I think he could have committed because there's just 2 Hydras there. It's going to check the Hydra count in the natural as well. Going to see that there's only a couple of drones mining as well. There's a DT heading across the map, so he might try and find a bit of damage here with a DT Corsair combo. Yeah. True Bisu style.
The scarier thing for me is that Zealot legs are just finishing, so those are just going to make these Zealots so good at dealing with the Hydra. And even though the DT, they get caught and taken out, like I said, these Zealots are going to be almost scarier.
Yeah, the Swipey Boy gets picked off by the Zerglings here, but there's like 7 Zealots now running into the third. There's only 4 Hydras. Well, he's actually got a Sunken, but that's not going to be enough to hold against what is coming from the Protoss player. The drones get pulled as well, but it might be a little too late. There's reinforcements coming in from the natural, so he might actually end up holding, but this exposes the natural, and the Corsairs are coming in and going to clear out the overlords there in the natural. So even though, you know, he might be able to hold at the third, he's going to lose quite a lot of overlords in the natural. There's more Zealots coming out from the Protoss player. Oh, this is painful. He's in red supply now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Gosudark's all in at this point, but he definitely is taking his good sweet time trying to kill his opponent. He is getting a lot of damage done, so I guess it's worth it, but it's okay to like take another base behind this or, you know, say build a probe. We'll see if that actually happens. Both players are actually dealing, or I keep thinking Babo's like held on at this third base and then more Zealots run in and kill drones. It's not even the drones dying, it's just that Babo won't be able to make a unit like ever.
Yeah. Does it actually have any overlords queued up? There's 2 more popping out in a moment, but yeah, he needs to watch out so that no more get sniped. There is no entire defense in the main right now, and those Corsairs could get a juicy overlord kill on top of what they've already got this game. But yeah, as you're saying, he did manage to save his drones because it doesn't feel like he lost that much eco-wise, but in return he lost like most of his overlords. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, it didn't necessarily work out as he might have intended there.
Yes.
In some areas.
No, you're definitely right there. Well, watching Gosudark bleed away Zealots is definitely not very encouraging. He's also going to lose a few more Corsairs that he hasn't rebuilt. He also hasn't made a probe for like 5 minutes. So I don't know if he's still like trying to be all in here. He's trying to run 2 DTs in right now. And they will actually both get in somewhat surprisingly. And oh, by the way, there's no detection because there is detection actually right now, but the Overlord is going to go down. And that means everything else here dies to DTs.
Where's the closest Overlord? It's now floating in from the main, sorry, from the natural towards the main, but the spawning pool is definitely going to get sniped here by the Swipey boys. He might even go for the Hydra Den because that Overlord is taking his sweet time getting into the main base. Look at him. Get a move on, mate.
Overlord.
Yeah, but what you were saying about Gosudark committing heavily to this follow-up aggression is very reminiscent of how he played that first game, right? Against Pro.
Yeah.
He got himself into a decent position by coming back with a relatively strong Reaver push. And then instead of trying to compound his lead, he just kept throwing units away, and that ultimately spelled his doom. And this, you know, even though he's getting quite a lot of damage done on the other side, Babo is still alive, right? He's got a healthy, well, 24 drone count. It used to be better, but it used to be higher yet, I guess. But, you know, he's holding on. And if Babo holds on, he's got 3 bases. He's got 4 hatcheries. You know, he's got a lair. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Zerg player. Obviously, the situation's not perfect. It's not ideal, but it could have been worse. That's my point.
Well, man, what? Can we have less games where one player like takes catastrophic damage but is also somehow still in the game? I don't get it twisted. Like Babo is definitely not still in this game, but he's getting there. So I don't know. This is just quite an interesting experience that we're having here, Ziggy.
Yeah, I mean, I've just noticed how many High Templar he has, and I think you might be right that there's 9 High Templar with full energy on basically every single one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the situation might be a bit more dire than I tried to sell it as.
Yeah, I mean, so you can say a bunch of things. You can say, well, there's no Protoss third base. Like, well, you know, he hasn't finished +2. But +2 is maybe 20 seconds away. He does have a million billion storms. And so good luck getting anything done with 10, 12 Hydras.
There's more storms than Hydras. There's literally 1 storm for every Hydra.
You get a storm, and you get a storm.
Yeah, this feels like an opera broadcast here.
Yeah.
Every audience member gets a free storm.
And all of our audience members are Hydralists. All the Hydras are just like, wait, why did we all get invited to an Oprah broadcast? I'm like, wait a second, something's not right here. Yeah. So Sunken's going up back at home. Desperation in the eyes of Babo. He has 5 Sunkens at his natural or third base. Natural Expo is going to get like 2 or 3, but I mean, yes, Storm does not damage buildings, but damages everything else. So if Babo can hang on.
Yeah, this might be another anticlimactic end to a prolonged tug of war that lasted 14 minutes. He's now going to try and break the natural, and he's absolutely going to be able to do that. The High Templar are now showing up. He hasn't even cast a single stone. Oh, there we go. The storm's going up at the north, mowing down the Hydralisks, and there's there's no way for Babo to hold on here. He's just prolonging the inevitable.
Oh god, these storms are disgusting. Munitech switch! Just kidding. That's not actually gonna do anything. What are you gonna do? You gonna pick off 7 High Templar? I don't think so, my dude. Wow, what an epic win there in game number 1. Gosudark starting from his signature dish, serving up a cannon rush. And then really it just kind of went from bad to worse because Babo like failed taking out the cannons, then had to build even more Zerglings. Then he also tried that proxy hatch, which did absolutely nothing. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know if it was Gosudark winning that game or Babo losing that game. But either way, Gosudark does have
a bit of both at the same time, I reckon.
Yeah,
guess, you know,
combination, a comedy of errors.
They worked together for the outcome of that game.
Yeah, I don't know if they're on opposite team, same team, but Gosudark gets the win in the end, and that means that Babo is going to have to come back because he's facing elimination. Coming up in our next.
Yeah. So, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that somehow I magically know that we're going to Gladiator next, but it's actually because Zero just said it.
Yeah, it's not like Zero told us, right?
Shh! You're giving away our BSL secrets. It's the Brood Warriors secret league. I don't know. I can think of a dozen dumb names for this league. Bombastic. So there you go. It also makes it really nice when I tweet about it because I can just use the bomb emoji and then like the star emoji. So I need to step up my emoji game. I was only able to include 12 in my tweet about today's games, so I promise that I'll find a way to put 13 in next time. So yeah, we're going to Gladiator. It's PVZ, and it's game number 2 in our elimination match best of 3. So either Babo finds a way to hold on, or Gosudark will be advancing to our final match of the night. So
yeah, Gladiator, a relatively strong map for Zerg players. So I'm not surprised by this choice. Let's see how Babo changes up his game to take down Gosudark.
Okay, well, here we go. The map is Gladiator, and in the bottom left-hand corner, in the magenta, playing Zerg, this is Babo.
His opponent in the bottom right of Gladiator, we've got the green Protoss once again. It's Gosudark.
I was trying to think if Babo means anything in Spanish. Babor is like a port or something, but
you speak any Spanish?
Oh yeah, Spanish is my second language because I grew up in Texas, but I don't know if I speak Peruvian or Chilean Spanish. That's a little bit different than Mexican Spanish for sure. But Babo in Korean means idiot, so yeah, I don't know if that's what he's going for. I'm not sure I would name myself that, but Gosudark is the one up 1-0, so maybe he's a genius. I don't know. He is definitely pretty Gosu.
Well, you know, the self-deprecating nicknames are a thing. You remember how Beyond the StarCraft 2 player he used to be called, right? Or what he used to be called?
No, what was he called?
Excrement. He called himself Excrement.
Oh,
he played
yeah.
Protoss. Yeah, in like 2010, 2011, he went by the name of Excrement. So, you know, maybe that's something to consider. Maybe he did actually want to call himself Idiot. But anyway, now trying to segue this into a meaningful cast, we are probably going to have a Nexus first from the Protoss player because he's got plenty of probes queued up in his natural. Oh, sorry, in his main Nexus.
Yeah. Well, he's just planning on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. I don't know why he's queuing up 3 probes. I feel like that's, you know, not a pro gamer move, not pro gamer approved.
Yeah, it kind of signaled that he might be going for a Nexus first, and
yeah,
if he had actually scouted his opponent with a probe, maybe that would have been on the cards. But instead, you know, not knowing what's going on, you actually have to go for that forge, otherwise you're basically dead.
Yeah, I mean it's a forge expand instead of like a gateway expand, and that means that, you know, for the most part, this is going to be more of a passive opener. But for Gosudark, this forge is actually kind of an aggressive move too, because he's definitely capable of cannon rushing, although not going for it this time.
Yeah, only just now going to get to scout his opponent is Gosudark, so not getting lucky twice. And apparently third time is the charm as he sends that probe towards the bottom left-hand corner. And this time a slightly more conservative, but a way more conservative approach from Babo. He's not going for that 12 hatch. He's instead opting for a more standard. Was it an overpull? I don't know if it was an overpull or an overpull, actually. So
no, it's overpull if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But I also was not watching incredibly quickly. Either way, yes, there it is. So I want to say this is more of a standard opener. Third hatch coming down just because he's not being pressured at all. And Gladiator is kind of an interesting map because the mains are on low ground. So I think it actually makes more sense to put there as Zerg. I'm not,
Yeah, upon scouting the Forge, I think he was at liberty to decide whether he wanted to go for a third straight away or tech, because you don't necessarily have to invest as much in any defense as opposed to if the Protoss was going for a gateway expansion. But yeah, a little bit more freedom for Babo. He managed to get that scout off, and he should be safe and sound against anything coming his way in the near future. We've got a lair being moved in the natural, and this is something that I don't think Gosudark managed to see, so he's not going to know the timing of the lair, because the probe got picked off in the main, if I'm not mistaken, before actually scouting that.
Yeah,
so everything going well for Babo so far.
Yeah, and this is what I want to see is because we know Babo's a pretty solid player. He made quarterfinals of BSL last season, which I think surprised a lot of people, but shows that he definitely has a lot of potential. So for Babo, if nothing goes weird, like these cannon rushers or something stupid like that, if he gets to play his game, let's see how good that looks, because I think it's actually maybe even better than Gosudark, because Gosudark is the guy that likes to kind of throw a wrench into things, play a weird game, and that's kind of the chaos he thrives in. So when things are a little bit more standard, I think that makes it better for Babo, but let's see what he wants to go for. I'm guessing some sort of 5-hatch Hydra play.
Well, he's going to have to play a very reactive game here, because his opponent is not giving him the freedom of playing against, a standard build. He's going for a very quick Citadel. He's going for 3 more gateways. We've got Zealot speed now queued up in that Citadel. So, special tactics. If we get 2 more gateways, that might be, what he's going for. Either way, it's going to be quite a lot of pressure coming out from the Protoss player. And everything has been scouted by Babo, so he should be ready for what is coming. We'll just have to wait and see how he chooses to respond to this particular type of aggression. He's got a Spire in the way. He's got a Spire in the way. Now queuing up another hatchery, so probably going to focus on defending his natural with Sunkens, and then maybe trying to, after pushing the aggression away, applying some pressure of his own with the Mutalisks. Because there's no Stargate, right? There's no Stargate.
Yeah.
There's nothing to pressure those Mutalisks. We'll just have to wait and see how Gosudark manages to pull this aggression off.
Yeah, so Gosudark, he got the safest standard is opening, and so everything should be going according to plan. He's gonna bust out with a bunch of speed lots, and I'm like, okay, well, that's good, but if that doesn't get a lot of damage done at this third base, most likely, then what do you have to fall back on? Because this is actually going to be a Muta opener, which is something I definitely did not expect. But based on what Babo scouted, I think makes a lot of sense.
Babo is skimping out on Sunken defense in his natural. He's only got 1 there. There's 2 being built at the third, but are those going to be up in time to defend this? Because it feels like the Zealot aggression wasn't... he didn't treat this seriously enough and played a very greedy game. I mean, 1 Sunken is done. The other one hasn't actually started morphing.
Yeah, he's just now morphing it. So even though the Mutas are going to be here, Mutas do not deal that much damage to Zealots. So they're going to pick off the first Sunken almost immediately. And they're going to be able to take the second Sunken down before it even finishes morphing. But maybe they just target the hatchery. They actually do turn around and deal with the Lings. So that's probably the best case scenario. Gosudark will get cleaned up here and actually deal that much damage to Babo.
Well, I actually thought he was in dire straits there when there was no defense at the third, but it turns out Mutas are a pretty good unit.
Well, if he had suicided the Zealots to actually either target down the extra Sunken and then the hatchery, maybe he could have gotten it. I don't think he had quite enough to make that happen, but either way, these Mutas are going to be pretty scary. So let's see how well these Archons can hold him.
What do you do when there's 8 flying shrimp in your natural? Like, seriously,
This is
what
like, have you ever seen the shrimp arm emoji? So basically, you've got the strong arm emoji, and then the face, and then there's no left strong arm. So you have to use the shrimp emoji as the left arm. So this is his shrimp strong arm, the flying one.
This reference is lost on me, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, I'm gonna type it in chat while you actually cast the game.
Okay, but there's not much to be said about this, other than Gosudark is in trouble. He's only now managing to secure his natural, or at least take back control. There's 2 Archons waiting there. He's rebuilding his cannons, but for all intents and purposes, it feels like Babo is once again in control of this game. The Zealot aggression is once again being cleared out by the Mutalisks. And yeah, I mean, Babo is ahead in every single regard. He's got more drones. He's now finishing his 5th hatchery as well. Does it actually have any upgrades on the way? No, not yet. So just sticking to basic units with no upgrades, just things, just mutas. And yeah, I mean, the ball is in Gosudark's court here because he needs to do something, and he needs to do something very quick. Now, on the upside, he does have 3 Archons, and those Archons are the natural predator of the Mutalisk, right? The Archon is the natural predator of the Mutalisk. And I don't know, maybe those can actually get something done at the 3rd here. There's 3 Sunkens, there's a bunch of Lings as well. I don't see this going well for the Protoss player.
Yeah, because the Archons are going to have to multitask here. The Mutas actually aren't doing anything. If he holds this without using the Mutas, let's see if he can micro this, because technically, Mutas have 1 more range than Archons. So if they're on hold position, picks one off, grabs another one. The next Archon's forced to run, and it's going to get picked off here too. Ooh, yeah, there's one hit.
There's no way back, and it seems like Gosudark knows it. So the series gets evened out here with both players. 1 point on the board. And the next game is going to determine which one of these players will have to say goodbye to the BSL, at least for the time being.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I kind of talked about there. Is I was like, okay, if Pablo gets to play just his game, how's it gonna look? I thought he was gonna, have a little bit more kind of in the bank, and that's exactly what he did. He came out with that Muta strat, which obviously was the way he chose to kind of dictate the pace of the game, and had just enough to hold on at the natural. That Zealot attack was a little bit weird though, and that's exactly kind of Gosudark's MO. Like, how can I play this a little bit more strangely? And yeah, it just did not work out at all.
There's something I'd like to address, and that, like, in the chat, and that's a lot of people are saying that there's no GG because we didn't get to see GGs. Most of these players are typing GG, but when you're playing top versus bottom, I think the default setting is you send to allies, and if you don't switch to all, then the GG doesn't always show in the replay, depending on whose perspective the replay treats the replay as, or something like that. But we saw that in the KSL as well, right? When the GG sometimes gets typed in twice, because they always play top versus bottom in the KSL because they want red versus blue, right? So that's basically what it's about. That the fact that we're not seeing GG doesn't mean that these players are not managed, because the GG is, I guarantee you, like 95% of the time there.
Yes. So these are not bad manner players. They probably actually play against each other quite a bit, but they tie each other up at 1-1. And I love how close this series is. Both players definitely have their own styles. They're playing their own way, and it's good in different situations. But I think that now that Gosudark has had his fun cannon rushing, it's a little bit of fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Well, I think it's about to be shame on him because he did lose that last game. He's gonna reach into his bag of builds and see what else is there.
Yeah, but we're playing on Neo Sulfur, and this has been hailed like literally one of the most standard maps we've had since Fighting Spirit or Circuit Breaker. This is literally one of the favorite maps for the Korean players, and I wouldn't expect anything out of the ordinary from Babo here, because he clearly proved that he knows how to play the long game. If he gets to the point where he's got 3 base eco, he knows what to do from that point. So once again, I think the ball is going to be in Gosudark's court to try and do something as soon as possible, I reckon.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Let's get into it. Game number 3, the deciding match to find out which player is happy, which player is sad, however you want to look at it. All right, here we go. In the 12 o'clock location on the map Sylphid, in the magenta as Zerg, this is Babo.
And his opponent in the 7/8 o'clock position, basically bottom left, playing as the green Zerg, it's the green Protoss, he's Gosudark. I botched that, didn't I?
Whatever. We know who the players are. This is where we get to test Twitch chat's level of literacy. Can you read the player names and see which color it is? These players are actually kind enough to use IDs that are their actual names, unlike our other player. Who was it? It was Goku. It was Seiya.
Seiya, something like that.
Yeah. There's basically one esports pro from South America named Seiya for every esport. It's just like a popular name. Maybe that's the most popular anime in South America. I don't know. But yeah, these guys are using their real names and IDs and colors. So you guys can figure it out. Think for yourselves, guys. Break the chains. Anyway, you're right. They're spawning in close positions. Ha ha ha. It's a 3-player map. But they're also, more importantly, they're scouting each other. Or they should scout each other.
Oh, the good
first.
That caught me off guard.
Haha. Gets them every time. So once the Overlord reveals itself, both players are going to know where each other are. So no surprises this time around. Well, obviously
we're going to get a Nexus first here, probably.
Are we?
Maybe? No?
Huh?
No.
Huh? No.
Do you always delay this forge this much?
I mean, it did seem like a pretty late forge, but he did send out a pretty early probe. I don't know if that's early. It's like after Pylon. But if he had chosen to just play a little safer, then yeah, he could have that up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. Right, so I suppose we're going to have to wait and see what these players choose to go for, because as I've said, PvZ can be, for the most part, identical if you don't play something like 4-gate or Zealot speed, right? But for the most part, you're going to expect a Forge fast expand into a gateway, then you're going to go for a starport, you're going to start seeing Corsairs. Once Overlords start getting pushed back, then maybe a couple of DTs, a couple of swipey boys are going to come out as well. So for the most part, that's what PvZs look like. And we're going to have to wait a moment for the game to reach that point. Now, I don't think that Babo is going to actually find any damage here. He's got 6 slings out on the map, but 2 cannons are going to be ready just in time to hold on any Zerg aggression. And there we go. Again, Babo going for the same build order as he went for on Gladiator, going for that quick third base. Now, there's a slight difference this time in that he's not going to have access to a third gas geyser, because that's a mineral only. But it didn't really come into play last time, right? He didn't necessarily need that third extractor that quickly, so not a massive difference by any means.
Yeah. Now, I want to see, obviously, if you know mutas are coming, it's pretty easy to counter that with Stargate units for Protoss. So it's definitely something that might not work twice. And it's obviously something that Babo's pretty comfortable with. His Mutamicro look, pretty good. I'm not sure if that was, flag Mutamicro, because they're obviously playing on pretty good turn rate, I would imagine. Even though some of the internet's not great, the further south you get in South America, I mean, they do live pretty close to each other. So
not for long. You're going to have Starlink internet from Elon Musk.
I'm waiting for it, dude. I mean, look, I live in South Korea, so I'm not.
Oh, you don't have to worry about the internet,
yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you a KT guy or?
Oh no, I am an SKT boy all the way.
Okay, I'm leaving then.
Okay. Hey, look, they gave me a deal. Okay, I got 30% off my combined internet. And
yeah, but bill. SKT don't sponsor StarCraft anymore. Have you heard of KT Giga Internet?
I
Traitor.
Have. I was literally
infidel.
Yeah, I felt bad about that for a second, but then I, also don't pay as much.
But then, money, I like money, so if I don't have to spend it.
Well,
or
look,
at least as much of
I
it.
funneled that money back into esports, so in
Did
truth,
you
I'm
now?
the real sponsor here. Yeah, I'm alive and able to live in this country so that I can cast at 4 a.m. So
Fair enough. Yeah, it's 4 a.m. Fair enough. I'll let you slide it.
All right,
I'll
thanks,
let
Ziggy.
it slide this time.
I'm glad I get to keep casting. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I thought that Overlord was a drone hiding in the back of Babo's base, and I was like, oh no, not again. Or in the back of Gosudark's base, but it's not. And we are seeing basically the most standard play for this Forge opening. Stargate just now finishing up. Maybe a little bit later than normally is, but Gosudark's super solid. I wonder if he's just going to continue to play this straight up, because it didn't feel like any of his weird shenanigans were working there in game number 2.
Well, Babo is going for the exact same build as he did on Gladiator. He's got that Aspire on the way. Just going to have to wait and see for the second extractor to be taken as well. There's actually a full hatchery being planted down already at the 3rd, and it looks like that drone might be going for another one. No, not yet. Oh, never mind. I was getting ahead of myself there. But yeah, we've got the second extractor on the way, so everything, you know, ship shape on the side of the Zerg, going for that trusted build. And the ball is once again in Gosudark's court. It feels like he's going to have to do something to turn the tide here, because it didn't feel like Babo had to do that many things on Gladiator to actually win, right? And if he sticks to his plan, I feel like he's going to be safe and sound against whatever comes his way. Now, for the time being, he's actually losing Overlords to the first Corsair, but that is going to have to head home in a matter of seconds as Scourge pop out of the eggs there in the natural, the main.
Yeah, Scourge do this weird thing where like they're kind of half invincible when they spawn, so they can like detonate but not do damage when if you try to like park the Corsair over them. I don't know, it's super weird. Also, if you try to Scourge a Muta, I know when it pops with Scourge, they're sitting on top of it. Sometimes the Muta is invincible while it's still spawning, and the Scourge don't do any damage. So
yeah, Brood War is a weird game. Yeah,
I don't get it. Either way, the Scourge chases the Corsairs off. Surprise. And now we're moving back into a little bit more of a standard game. Although, wait a second, let me do a hatchery count here. Okay, never mind. It is 5 hatch.
Is he on 5? Where's the 5th one?
Hatch.
Oh, in the natural. Sorry, didn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So this is like your 5 hatch Hydra play after what could have been mutas but wasn't.
Yeah, so he's just like 1 hatchery short of being in a perfect position here. And I think he's going to go for that at the 3rd in a matter of seconds, because you're well more than capable of macroing up on 6 hatcheries when you've got access to 3 bases worth of minerals. And there we go, there's the 6th hatchery, so that's going to be his go-to build for this particular map.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of weird because usually you expect the 3rd to take a the Zerg to take a gas base as their 3rd, but this is mineral only. So, like, in order to 6 hatch Hydra, you definitely need some extra gas coming from somewhere. He's even getting upgrades at the same time. So, like, I don't know if he's just gonna like Ling, like, you know, call up that dial the hotline Ling or not, but he is gonna be able to take out all these zealots.
Yeah, no trouble there. Doesn't necessarily lose that much. The Hydra reinforcements coming from the natural end. Babo is once again safe and sound, and Gosudark just threw away a ton of units to do absolutely no damage. 3 more zealots are now parked in the center of the map, going to get picked off for absolutely free.
So here's the strategy. You throw away all your zealots.
And then you type out.
Yeah, into GG.
Out,
that's definitely the build order here. Now, he does not have, okay, the Overlords do have speed, so they'll be able to get up here and deal with this.
But he needs to watch out because the Corsairs are getting on top of the Overlords.
Oh, snap. Yeah, this is gonna have to turn around. Oh, the Overlord's so low. No way he throws away these Corsairs. Ooh, that was scary. But yeah, now it's Overlords and Hydras. Name a more iconic duo. That DT is dead, and any more of them will probably die just as quickly. He does not have storm energy. He doesn't
even have storm just yet. It's
oh wow, yeah, you're right.
Halfway
it's
done.
done.
Yeah.
He's spamming as many cannons as he can possibly fit here, but this is panic mode.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do if you hold? The Zerg is on 3 bases. He's got 6 hatcheries worth of production, and he's more than capable of taking more bases now because he's contained you. I don't see Gosudark coming back into this game. I don't understand the attack in the third, right? He just threw away everything he had. It didn't feel like a timing because Babo had +1 on his Hydras. It was very late to do anything because Babo already had 6 hatcheries, right? I don't really understand what Gosudark was going for in this game.
Yeah, I kind of had the same idea in the last game too when he sent those zealots out and they got cleaned almost exactly as easily. So now Babo's gonna pull back and I love this. He's gonna expand again. I think. Oh yeah, there he is. So taking the 3 o'clock base, and from now on out, like he even catches the BT that's there to kind of make that not happen. So damn, Babo is killing it.
Yeah, another swipe ball gets picked off as the 3 zealots huddle in the corner.
What happened to these Corsairs?
He's still got 2. They're
well, yeah, but like
picking off. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought he had actually a lot more, but I guess he actually lost them.
Oh yeah, you're actually right.
To pick up the overlords.
He must have had like 5.
Yeah, he already. Oh, Scourge coming in. Scary, but he does retreat to the cannons in time.
Does he?
Wow, he actually still got the Corsair. What?
I was waiting with bated breath to see whether that Corsair is going to meet his maker, and it actually did.
No justice in this world. Somehow four Scourge fly into 2 cannons. Well, that's the math problems. Like if 4 Scourge flying 40 miles an hour southwest fly into 4 cannons, or 2 cannons, can they kill 1 Corsair? It's mathematically impossible, but somehow it happens. That's just the world we live in.
I hope to see the day when such mathematical problems are introduced to the regular curriculum of your average
I would buy a new edition of a textbook if it had StarCraft word problems for sure. That's the only reason that it's justified to make the same textbook 12 different times.
That's here we go. Mutas.
Yeah, that is quite a few. You've correctly identified. There are many Mutalisks out on the map.
But is this tech switch really necessary? Look at how many Dragoons he's got, and even if those Dragoons fail to defend, he's got like 7 High Templar in his natural, all about full of energy. So I'm not sure if this switch was necessary. Why wouldn't you go into, say, I don't know, Lurkers and Dark Swarm and just sit outside the base of the Protoss player? Because you've got map control.
Yeah, no, you make an excellent point there. At this point, Babo can really do anything he wants. There's not a whole lot standing between him and winning this game, except for, I guess, the time it takes for Gosudark to kind of fizzle out.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not the worst thing you can do, because the worst thing you could do was try and crash into those 6 cannons repeatedly over and over again, right? But it doesn't feel like the Muta switch was necessary. There are so many other options that he could have gone for, at least in my book, or in my view.
Well,
I don't know, because he's not getting anything with those, right? I mean, he's got air control, right? So he could control any potential shuttles, and he's solidified his map control with this. But do you really need to worry about that when the Protoss is on 2 bases and you've got like 5?
Well, my thing is, like, if you're a Terran player and you're getting Muta harassed right now, you've got like some Marines to work with. Maybe you've got like air units, but like the cliff at the natural, super easy to Muta harass. Even some of these places in the main are very vulnerable. But Babo's not doing anything with his mutas. He's got a bunch of mutas. This is like more than a control. No, it's actually exactly 1 control unit. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it kind of forces out. Well, one option you've got as the Protoss player is you just go for Corsairs. So if you're the Zerg, you're hoping to force out Corsairs to deal with the mutas. But then once those Corsairs are out, then the Protoss army is a bit stronger than yours, because you could have had like Lurkers or Defilers and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know that much about PvZ, but it feels like it would have been a much more sound decision to go for. Does he even have a hive? It's just now morphing. It could have been done by this point.
Whoa, yeah, that's not where you fly your mutas in, my man. You fly those mutas in there, they just get what's the word? I'm trying to think of the Spanish word for that. Borrando. they get completely erased. That's the problem with all these mutas is like, what do you, you can't fight into anything.
Yeah, so it looks like we might have the deciding fight of the game shortly here. Both players hovering at around 160, 170 supply. Look at how many High Templar he's got. Look how many Storms that is.
Yeah. So we've been talking about how Babo's in a great spot. So this might be one of those times where he's winning until he loses, you know?
Like he's got a lot of things, but those things don't necessarily deal or fare well against Storm, right? Like he's got he's got Hydras, he's got Lynx, he's got Mutas, but all those things get absolutely demolished by Storm. Look at that. He's going to funnel those Hydras at the bottom and at the top. Look at the massacre here. It looks like Gosudark might actually be able to break through here. He's still got plenty of Storms. Oh my god.
Gosudark has the supply lead for like the first time in the last 10 minutes. What is happening?
Why would you go for those Mutas? Why not just tech up and get Defilers, get Lurkers as well? His entire army is getting deleted here.
Yeah, these are +2 Protoss units, and Dragoons just kind of kill everything. Storm kind of kills everything. Wait, there's no tech.
Yeah, but on the other side, Gosudark has just depleted his Storm resource, like his Storm pool, right? And the only units he's got here are Dragoons, and Dragoons don't really fare well without any support. And we're seeing this here. With no support, these Dragoons actually have to go back. So Babo, in the end, it wasn't clear, it wasn't clean, it wasn't pretty, but somehow he actually manages to hold here.
Yeah, Babo's trying to lose the game as hard as he could right there, but it turns out even he is too far ahead for himself. And eventually, yeah, he can't actually produce off of, he's got like 9 hatcheries right now. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's like 8 hatcheries or something. So he was able to build just enough units to hang on. And now he does have tech like Adrenal, he's got Lurkers out now. And so yeah, he's going to be able to diversify away from a horrible mutant comp.
Yeah, so, I mean, the upside here is that Gosudark actually managed to break out and he got a 3rd. But is it going to be enough when Babo is already on 5 bases? Now, the one thing he has going for him is that Babo has been a little bit more conservative about taking the whole map when he had the liberty to do so. So Babo could have been actually more ahead than he was. I don't know. I mean, that fight, I was surprised by how well Gosudark actually started that fight, right? Those Storms were absolutely massive at the start. And then it kind of turned around. So, I don't know. Maybe there's still something in store here for us from the side of Gosudark. But I mean, they're still even on supply.
I don't know.
It's not like the upgrades are that good for Babo either. It's 1-1 on the Lings and +2/+1 on the Hydras.
Yeah, but eventually Babo is going to have enough time to figure out that late game Zerg is still pretty good. It's taken him a while, but he has an Ultralisk Den being built. So
he's finally invested in Lurkers.
Yeah,
you said late game Zerg, and I just wanted to say, but this is not late game Zerg, this is Lings and Hydras, right? But finally we've got Lurkers on the battlefield as well. Massive Storms going down, so those Lurkers clumping up and actually getting picked off, but the support from the Zerg army is still there. More reinforcements coming in. And is Gosudark actually going to be able to hold here? There's 2 more Lurkers remaining, and it looks like Babo is throwing his lead once again. Jesus Christ, how did these fights go so well for Gosudark is beyond me.
I just like what, how do you even, like, it feels like Babo is like, stop hitting yourself. Deja de golpearte. He's like, he's just trying so hard to kill his units over and over again. He's like, guys, I know you might not like it, but your job is to run in 12 storms. And the Zerg units are like, wait, how many storms? They're like 12.
Right.
I think you can do that. It's the Overmind. They don't get a choice.
Explain to me why Babo would go for 2 more hatcheries after throwing away his entire army. Like,
well, see, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't make sense because he remaxed on units that also still just died a storm. He didn't tech up.
Yeah, he's just getting Lings, he's getting Hydras. There's like no tech. He's got 1 Lurker here. Oh, actually, he's going for Ultras. Never mind. So he is switching things up. And Gosudark might not have the right answer for the Ultralisks. He's got a couple of Archons, so those are going to help, but I don't know.
Well, look, so I thought Babo was just bad at macroing, but now he's going to be able to produce like 10 Ultras, and he doesn't have Chitinous yet, but eventually he will. Too bad that doesn't stop storm damage, but you know, the idea is there. So eventually we're going to see some high-tech units out of Babo. Not yet, though. We're going to have to wait a little while. We're 20 minutes in and he doesn't have his first lair unit. Or
he's setting up a massive surround here, but it seems like Gosudark has realized that this is a potential threat, so he is going to go back, not going to commit to that position, because that fight in the center of the map would have been absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, we've got 9 storms on these High Templar, by the way, so that's quite a few. And this is a 4-base Protoss, keep in mind. They actually, he only has 50 probes. What? How does he only have 50 probes? I guess he's mined out in his natural, so...
Well, he's only mining from like 1 or 2 bases.
Yeah, okay, so he's only mining from 2 bases. That's weird. I was looking and I was like, okay, there's 4 bases here, but he's actually not even mining with like 12 of his probes because they were idle in the main, but now he's using them.
Yeah, both his natural and 3rd base gases are about to be depleted. So his gas income is going to take a massive hit in the next like 15 seconds. Well, maybe more than that, like the next minute and a half. He's going to have way less gas in the bank to work with. Now, he is trying to go for another base in the bottom right. I don't think he's realized his opponent has taken the base or the main base in that particular part of the map.
Yeah. Well, let's see how long this base in front of the Protoss army stands, because it should just be, you know, washed away from the earth like the sands of time. I don't know if that's like... This is weird because I'm like, okay, so if Gosudark overextends, then he loses. But if Babo overextends, then also he loses. So this is a weird stalemate. I guess Babo's still in the lead, right?
Well, we've been saying that for the past like 15 minutes, and he hasn't actually managed to do much with it, or with the lead that he had. But yeah, definitely. The ball is in Gosudark's court here because, I mean, look at his income. He's got literally no money coming in, right?
Oh, the DTs are going to snipe the Nidus at that base near the Protoss base. So all of a sudden, Babo goes from having 2 bases down there to no bases down there and no way to reinforce as the DT boys clean everything up.
Yeah, so finally, the kind of move you would expect from a Protoss that just managed to raise 2 armies to the ground. Yeah, it felt a bit indecisive for the past couple of minutes when Gosudark could have gone in for a slightly more in-your-face move. But I'm glad he's actually managed to he got around to doing it eventually. And now both players are getting maxed out. So remember that you can only have 12 units in one of your control groups. And when you're maxed out, it's really quite difficult to control your units. It becomes even more difficult when you factor in the fact that every single spellcaster has to be controlled manually when you're casting spells. Otherwise, those spells are going to overlap. And that's something you need to avoid. So at this point, it actually becomes
here we go.
A game of
Defiler's on in
micro.
there. Plague goes off, but it actually mostly hits Archons. There is a good one on the Zealots, but look at how many DTs there are. There's like a control group of DTs. There's literally a control group of Dark Templar in with this army for Gosudark. He's living up to the name. He's both Gosu and Dark here. I don't know if this... Oh, he's scourging all the observers. He loses every observer and can't kill lurkers anymore.
And now the army is going to get surrounded by the Ultralisk coming in from the left side. More Hydras and Lings coming in from the top side as well. And it looks like Gosudark is storming his way out of this fight. Both players still relatively even in supply, but now Babo shoots up 165, 2 more. The Dark Swarm's coming down, helping those Hydras stay alive. Only Archons and High Templar remain, and it looks like Gosudark might be running out of steam. He's got a little bit of money in the bank. That base in the bottom right has managed to get that mineral count up a little bit, and he's still standing. He's still somehow standing, even though Babo is 40 supply up. This Protoss army is still standing strong. There's 4 Archons and Dark Templar still in this fight. The Ultra is coming in. I'm speechless. How is he doing this?
What is happening? ¿Qué está pasando? Like, this is like the most ridiculous back and forth. That's my official phrase for what happens when both players can't. And Gosudark
Finally.
taps out.
Finally.
Damn.
Justice.
Oh my.
That was, wow. That was a tug of war I didn't expect to witness today. Like, every 5 minutes, Gosudark just somehow managed to cling on. And it really felt like at the end, he could have maybe still hung on and fought on for another couple of minutes. Because he got that bottom base, like the bottom right. That was painful to watch a bit. Not that the game was necessarily like inherently bad to watch, because you know when there's a lot of like momentum shifts, then that